Welcome to this episode of the Runners Podcast with myself, Rotokholo. We say compliments of the new year. Happy 2026 to everyone. And yeah, let's hope it will be a good year for all of us in all aspects of life. But yeah, we're talking running. Let's hope in running I'll finish my Comrades 2026 as I'm chasing my green number. Because I was supposed to have been have obtained my green number long ago. My first Comrade was 2010. So yeah, I don't have green number yet, but yeah, I'm still going there. But yeah, like, subscribe, comment, and today we are previewing South African road running calendar, and I'm hosting in Tate Musobodi, Whitehead. Wara, welcome. You're not a stranger to us. You are one of us. You are family.
I'm so happy to be here. Looking forward to a fabulous 2026. I wish I could say I was also training towards Comrades. I started in 2011. I'm still a little bit behind, but maybe one of these days I'll return. Like some of these guys training behind us here. But yes,
I've seen the Willie Hayward runner here. You can see the
Wandisile, of course.
Yeah,
he's training here. So yeah, maybe this year, who knows?
Yeah. I think let's start with something that is happening this coming weekend. The champs.
Yeah, World Cross Country Championships. They're happening in Tallahassee, Florida, in the United States, and we've sent a South African team which have just departed for those champs.
Yeah, and I've seen Chris Mhlanga, Bernard Seloyi. Unfortunately, Kabelo Malaudzi with injury, reported injury, is not going. And yeah, I've seen few of the ones that I know.
Yeah. So there are some of the usual names that we're used to seeing performing, especially in the ABSA Run Your City series, because it's 10 kilometers, the senior race at the World Cross Country Championship. So many 10 kilometer specialists, as you mentioned. And for the men's team, we've got those that you've mentioned, Seloyi, who is the SA Marathon champion. You've got Chris Mhlanga, the SA 10K champion. We've got the improving Sawe Nkosi Mnisi, who trains with Glenrose Xaba in that group of Violet and Casta Seminyas. And then we've got the rest being based in the US. Adrian Wildskut, recently having set the SA half marathon record at the end of 2025. And then he will lead the team in the absence of Malaudzi. And then we've also got J.Lee Rosley, who was the official reserve, will now come in for the injured Malaudzi. He's a young man who's from Alberton. And a few years ago, he finished number 20 at the World Cross Country Championships in Australia in the junior race. Now he's coming for the first time in the senior race. He's based in the US, so he'll meet them there. And as well as Ubab Masondo, the youngster, also based in US college there. They will meet them there. So that's the men's team. They're talking about top 6, top 5. 2023, the team of Precious Mashele, Elroy Gelant, Maxime Shomatom, they were position 5 in the team competition, which was won by Kenya, Ethiopia, Uganda. So not bad. 2024, our men's team was 8th position, and Bernard Seloyi was the first South African on that occasion, coming in 21st. So let's see what they can do. And then we've also got the women's team, and I think it's all eyes on Glenrose Xaba.
Yeah. Are you confident that she will deliver after running a marathon? I know she won a lot of these 5-10 kilometer challenges back here at home in the 2025 season.
She says after that 223 in Valencia that she didn't spend much time training during December. Remember, that race was on the 7th of December.
Yes.
So it was about a month ago. She says she took some time to rest, polish up the speed, because she's already fit.
Yeah.
She had a long season, and preparing for that marathon made sure she was in tip-top condition. So she's feeling good. What Glenrose usually does at these championships, she goes le Makenya. The rest of the South Africans will tend to hold back and try and attain a good position. Glenrose, first 2 laps, and then tends to fall off the pace. So this time she's hoping that marathon strength will actually carry her through, and perhaps she could do better than the 32nd position is her best position. She'll maybe get a top 30, or if she runs very well, a top 20.
And then talking about because I didn't take a look at the women's field that we've sent there, but I've spoken to, I think during the boxer, that boxer leg in Marentia, I spoke to Karabo More, who indicated that she's doing that in early January. She's going for the champs. Yeah.
Karabo More also there. Karabo Mailula also there. So the three of them, Glenrose and the two Karabos, of course, trained together and are coached by the same coach, Violet and Casta. Then we've also got Sean Oldno returning from injury at the end of 2025, the Olympian. And she feels that, she's just starting to come back to find the sort of fitness that we saw from her in 2023 and 2024. Then we've got Kayla Jacobs, Western Province. She recently had a baby in and around just before the Total Sports Women's race. So it must have been around June of 2025. And then she started running in about August. And then she, in fact, finished ahead of Glenrose at the last World Cross Country Championships, finished in the top 30. So she's a very good cross country runner, is Kayla. Let's see what she can do, given that she's just coming back from giving birth. And those are our senior women, the 6 senior women that are in that team.
Yeah, but then let's just look at the record times for both males and females. What time are we looking at?
Well, with cross country, it's a little bit different because the courses are not standard. They're never exactly the same. So there are sometimes obstacles. They put tree logs, mud, all sorts of things, bales of hay to jump over. So records in the true sense of the word are not really kept for cross country. And sometimes it's not precisely 10 kilometers. It might be slightly short or slightly long because you're running loops and laps. So for record purposes, not. But I would say for the senior men's race, depending on the course, I mean, sometimes, if I remember in Australia, in Bathurst, the course was so tough that the winner, Kiplimo of Uganda, there were only a handful of men that managed to break 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, 29 mid, 29 late, because the course was very undulating, very muddy, lots of obstacles. So men, if you can run anywhere around that 30 minutes, you've done really well. You find yourself in a good position. So cross country is more about position than it is about time, because of the challenging nature of the course. That being said, we are still waiting in the history of cross country for South Africa's very first top 10 finish in the men and in the women. In the men, Stephen Mokoka has a 13th position, which was equaled by Precious Mashele. That's the best position that we have ever taken. So we are waiting for a top 10 finish, and maybe Adrian Vilskut can deliver. He's familiar with the American conditions. Before he became a professional, he was on the American college circuit where he ran a lot of cross country, where he was still coached by Zola Bad that side. So I think maybe conditions, he doesn't have to travel like now. They're traveling 38 hours to get there. So he's already there. He doesn't have to travel. He'll know the surroundings. So maybe
he doesn't need to adjust to
the conditions, you know what I mean? He's from the West Coast, but he will have come down to Florida a little bit earlier. So I think maybe Adrian Vilskut, especially after that Olympic performance in 2024, the national records he set last year, might be the man to attain that top 10 finish.
So we are eyeing top 10 on if we get top 10, that will be a good position for South Africa on the men's front. And then on the ladies,
top 20. We haven't broken top 20 for quite some time. I think you have to go back to the days of Ilana Meyer and Colleen de Rieck in the 1990s to find athletes of that caliber. So if Glenrose can run somewhere there, just judging by her fitness, ordinarily I would also count Kayla Jacobs, but because she's just been coming back after giving birth, I'm not sure the kind of shape she's in. The top 30 would be a good finish for her. So I think if Glenrose can run top 20, she'll have done well.
And in those kind of races, what would the field look like? How many runners would be on the field of that challenge.
6 per nation. Those are the 6 that have been selected.
Yeah.
And they would run, and then the points are then scored in cross country, not in terms of the highest, but the lowest. So let's say, for example, I'll give you Kenya. Last World Cross Country Championships in Serbia, or was it Bathurst? One of the two. They got 19 points. So number 1 point. Then let's say the next Kenyan is 3rd or 4th. I think it was 4th. It was a Benue. Then that's 4. 1 plus 4 is 5. So it means that when you combine the numbers of I think the top 4 score points, they are all less than 20. Shows that they're quite high up.
Oh yeah.
You see. But now if you're number 1, when South Africa, for example, in the men's race took 5th position, we had 119 points. So that means number 20. I think Mashelo was number 15. Then Onalenna was number 30 something. We added all up. It's 119. Yeah. So I mean, we're looking somewhere there. I think if you want to be under about 120 points, will get you close to the top 5, because that's 20 by 5. So yeah, let's see what they can do.
Let's jump straight into road running and go to. We've had ABSA 10 Run Your City 10K. We've had that. I think because that one you've got both male and female competing. Let's just preview that and let's talk about the upcoming calendar. On the men's front, I've seen Kabelo Malauzi dominating most of the ABSA runs.
Yeah, Kabelo Malauzi had a fabulous season in 2025. Remember, he broke 28 minutes 3 times. Gqeberha, Cape Town, and Durban managed 27 minutes, and then ran a 27:41 in Durban, which was a fabulous time, and is the 3rd fastest time by a South African in South Africa. So I mean, he has got an injury now has prevented him from competing at the World Cross Country Championship. So we're not sure how it will go in the first race of the ABSA Run Your City series, which is in Gqeberha in March.
In March, yeah.
It's no longer April, so it's a bit earlier. Let's see what will happen there. But there are a lot of other athletes who are knocking on the door.
Yeah.
I think the main story with those 3 coastal races of the ABSA Run Your City series is this magic number called sub 28.
Yeah.
Before, it was unheard of for a South African to run 27 in South Africa. I'm not talking long ago. I'm talking going back to 2021, just after COVID. Maxime Chomoton did it first, and then many others followed. Elroy Gelant, as we mentioned, Kabelo Malauzi, Stephen Mokoka, Thabang Musiako. They've all now run under 28 in South Africa. So there are some who are now looking to join that list. 2 in particular who have said it is high time Renya Gotsena. That is Bennett Seloyi. He is now 28:12, and Chris Mhlanga, whom I think is 28:17. Those 2 feel like they should have done it last year. They couldn't, even though they ran PBs. So I think they will be targeting, especially if they run well at the World Cross Country Championships and come back feeling fit and strong, to have a good race in Gqeberha in March.
Yeah. And just talking about the Run ABSA Your City, we've seen Stephen Mokoka breaking a record there, which is the veterans record.
Well, for those who are tuning in to the Runners podcast from other places in the world, they will say, what is a veteran? We are the only place that calls them a veteran. In the world, it's masters, but yes, between 40 and 50, so 40 to 49 is a veteran in South Africa, but a master in the rest of the world for that category. He's done that this season. We are not sure, because the focus had been for him to run the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon, which was then unfortunately cancelled at the end of 2025. So with that date shifting to May, and Mokoka having run 2 Oceans last year, he did say after 2 Oceans that he wants to come back because he feels like he still hasn't got it right. He still hasn't managed a top 10 or a podium. Then it puts all these races close together. There's the ABSA, maybe 10K in March. There's a 2 Oceans in April.
Early April,
And then there's a Sanlam Cape Town Marathon in May.
Phew.
They are very close. So he will have to tell us, around February, what his plans are, how he's going to balance it all. Will he maybe drop 2 oceans to focus on Cape Town, given how close they are? One's 56, other 42. Will he? We're not quite sure yet. He'll have to tell us, and then that will certainly then affect whether he goes for that veterans 10-kilometer record in Durban, most likely. But then again, Durban is July after the marathon. We'll see. So we'll have to wait and hear from him.
And we've had another, still on the 10 kilometers, we've had someone dipping or setting a PB for South Africa, which is Maxim Shiamatong. So he has set the bar, running sub 27.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He did it again, became the first South African to achieve a significant milestone. This time around, running that 26:55 in Romania. He is now the first South African to have a 26-minute 10K.
Yeah.
And he's very much now an international runner. For example, just on New Year's Eve, there's a race that he always attends in Italy. He went there again, and this time he ran 27:58, I think. 58 to 59. And he says it wasn't his best race. I think he came out number 6. But for example, in that race, who was he running with? Kajelsha of Ethiopia, Sebastian Sawe. These are big names, big global stars. So he's now in that bracket of runners, which means that we will see him less and less competing in South Africa. He enjoys European management now. So he's still training and living here in Johannesburg, training at Zoo Lake, being coached by Tete Ramala. But he will spend most of his time there.
Yeah.
And because he's there, we will see him less and less here. Who knows? Maybe we'll see him running once or twice, running at 27 here. But those records, he's most likely to set them all over the world.
But can we expect to see him maybe participating in one of the Run ABSAs just to surprise us?
Yeah, maybe, because we did see him, for example, the year before last, in 2024, running the Boxer Super Run 5K, the one that was in Tshwane. So it's not impossible, and I think many people would like to see him run here in South Africa. I certainly would. We haven't seen him race here for a while.
Yeah.
Just like Adrian Volskert came back last year and raced the ABSA Run, broke the national record. Wouldn't it be great to see a race in South Africa? Maxime Chamatong, Adrian Volskert, Kabelo Molaudzi, all fit, all going for it 10K. I'm sure we will see some wonderful times. And it's also good for the rest of the guys behind them that are still up and coming. I think could be pulled to even faster times.
And I've seen someone who's now who has thrown his name in the hat now that he's now becoming a road runner, like he's doing the 10Ks. Ryan Mphahlele.
Yeah.
King Ryan,
money in the bank.
Yeah.
I must correct, because the old coaches will always say, hey, stop calling him King Ryan. This man is Ngugi. Well, his pre-COVID nickname was Ngugi.
I just know him as King Ryan. Yeah.
And he won the SA 1500 meter title in 2019. Many of us used to know him as Ngugi. But since then, he's been reborn as King Ryan. And he really has shown his amazing talent, ability and range, because he's now the only South African who's got 332 1500 meters, sub 28 10 kilometers. So it's a wonderful range, and some will remember how well he used to run 5,000. He's kind of slowed down on the 5,000 on the track, but I remember him running a very fast time in Germiston, sub 14 minutes, around 13:45 or 13:50, there at the Germiston Stadium, which is very high altitude, 1,600 meters, and it just shows his ability. So he says he will visit the road. He's still going to run track, try and focus on the major championships, 1500, but he will just visit the road for 5Ks, for 10Ks.
Yeah. Because he has done he's won the Boxer Joburg Lake, where I think he led from the word go, but there was a young man who gave him tough time,
very tough time,
but eventually he won the race. So then the other person that I want to talk about is Bernard Seloyi. he has shown hunger in all this 10 kilometer, 21 and 42. And he has proven that you can see the results of his hunger bearing fruits.
Bennett Seloyi, for me, is an example, I think, to many of our athletes about what is possible with focus, good race preparation, and picking one's races. So he's also a fairly a late bloomer, in that he's not someone that we knew coming up from high school. But what's on level Ryan, we were watching them as juniors already, saying, oh, this one is going to be a fabulous athlete one day. Came through a good development with Elvis Khoza in Tembisa. But Seloyi is like many other South African athletes who've had to fend for themselves, start running decent times, still running 31 minutes for 10K. People say, 31 is too slow, you know. And then eventually finding some support from the guys at the United training camp there at the Barnard Stadium in Kempton Park. But then when he achieved some success, didn't rush to race marathons every month, but decided, you know what, still let me focus on running, improving over 10Ks, whilst the long-term goal is to improve over the marathon. So he started running 2:19 at the Cape Town Marathon, I think 3 years ago. He brought it down to I think 2:18, then 2:16, and he was due to run last year, but obviously the race was cancelled. But then he went to Kimberley, maybe a blessing in disguise that he didn't run in Cape Town, and ran that fabulous time that you're talking about, which Stuart Mann, 2:13, correct. Suggests could it be the fastest time at altitude? We're still waiting to see what the statisticians say globally about that. And now, if he can break 28 minutes for 10Ks, running 27, then he is someone who must go to the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon and run. Can now say, right, Kinyaga sub 211, Kinyaga sub 210. Because once you can run 27, you should be running 209, 208, or even 207, depending how you can convert in the second half. And he's a very strong athlete, which is why he performs well over cross country. So I think for him, if he can run 27:59 for 10Ks, he's going to run 208 or even 207 for a marathon in good conditions. So, you know, Cape Town, you know, sometimes we get some wind and all of that, but he's someone who's certainly capable of a sub 210 this year.
I can't recall when he did when he won the marathon champs at Peninsula Marathon. The conditions were very tough because I was running. I think from about 5 up to a good 7 kilometer running against the wind. But I can't recall his time there.
I think it was just over 220. We were there on the day. It must have been about a 221. But the conditions were very tough. Were horrid. As he went head to head with the man from KZN, Usnetemba and Jangas, and they didn't manage to break 220. But it was almost a gale that was blowing there that day. The gazebos were being blown over at the finish line and all of that. So it was strong winds, and still managed to, you know, dip well inside 225. So he shows that he's got strength. He's improved his speed in 2028 using the ABSA Run Your City series in particular. Also ran well at the Hollywood Durban 10K. So this year I think he's ready now to produce a fast marathon time and maybe end up inside the top 10 fastest SA marathons.
But looking at our 10 kilometer road running races, look, your ABSA, your Hollywood, do you think we've got enough of those to keep our athletes fit, to keep our athletes focused?
It's a good question, and I think it was one that was answered by a few years ago. I remember talking to Gladwin Mzazi, and he was saying, because you know, Gladwin Libu, Stephen Mukokaki Taka, that come together from 2008 around there. One can now make a living as a man. You've always been able to do it as a woman because of Spar. Spar has done really wonderful work in supporting women's road running for 3 decades at least in South Africa. But it's been a little bit more challenging as a South African man, which is why the likes of Hoff went to the United States, Ramallah to Europe, and a few races in the United States as a 10K athlete. I'm not talking marathon, as a 10K athlete. So Mzazi was saying now with the ABSA Run Your City series, with the Hollywood bets Durban and Joburg,
Yeah.
we can count it there, and with Date Michael Mbabane's Nelson Mandela Bay half marathon, which was paying 100,000, that you can live as a 10 kilometer and 21 kilometer athlete, if we also of course include the retainer that you are getting from your professional club, whether it's a boxer or it's Hollywood or Mang. So now you can. For 10 kilometers, I think now you can. But I would still encourage athletes to go overseas, at least 1 or 2 races a year, in the same way that Max has done. Go there, in the fire with these top Kenyans. And that's a good thing that ABSA has done, bringing those top Kenyans here, like Ibenyo, a World Championships medalist, because it forces our guys to perform at that very high global level.
Yeah, and then let's just switch over to the ladies on 10 kilometers. Glenrose has dominated the Spar, and then not much on. I don't remember seeing her on the. Was she on the Run ABSA?
Yeah, she ran a few, but of course the ones in these 3, the coastal ones.
Oh, he did the coastal ones, yeah.
Khoarahlane, Cape Town, and Durban. I think Khoarahlane she was 3rd. Cape Town, Cape Town she won actually last year. The first time she won.
Yeah.
She ran 32.00. Durban, that one is tough because they bring the best East African talent. So if Glenrose will usually be top 5.
Mm-hmm.
When she ran the national record, for example, 2 years ago, that 31.12, she had finished 4th in that race, and then the Kenyan ladies will run, under 31, or the Ethiopian ladies. So she did well, but it's not the same level as the very best Ethiopian and Kenyan women, which is where she would need to go. But I feel that Glenrose will probably perform better as a marathon athlete now. Yes, she's good over 10K, but I think her sweet spot might be the half marathon. But I think that with Glenrose, we can start to dream of the first South African woman to run sub 220. She didn't have the best race in Valencia now, but I think as she learns more of the marathon, she's only done 2. Eventually, in the next 3 to 5 years, she will run 2:19 for the marathon, and I think that's where she will excel. 10Ks, I feel as though she's beginning to reach her ceiling, especially now that she's transitioned to the marathon. But certainly for the marathon, she will be South Africa's best for some time to come.
She dominated Spar. Let's just talk about Spar a little bit. I mean, we spoke. You alluded to the fact that as for the ladies, they can make a living, like especially with her winning. All 5 of the Spar races. I mean, clean sweep there. Let's just talk about that, her performance there.
I think what also helped is that there had been a feeling in the Spar races. Remember, we had the Namibian winning Spar 2019, Hilaria Johannes, and then after that we had a period of dominance, Aitadu, and then they said, hey, South Africans are getting hammered. So Spar put in an additional incentive for the first South African, and then we saw the South Africans come back and perform well, and Glenrose then also came through that. And once she was able to win, and importantly, in 2024, she had to beat Tadu. I remember there was a tough race in the Spar Tshwane where she was first and Tadu was second. She had to beat Tadu there. And I think she learned a lot from that because, there'll be a lot of people who have things to say about Tadu. But then she would encourage South African athletes a lot. She would say, I think South Africans like Glenrose can perform better.
Oh, yeah.
And they have the ability, they have the facilities, and she would share some knowledge. So because that happened, then Glenrose now assumed the throne, as it were, and has now been able to consistently dominate Spar and goes into the race knowing that she can win the race. So what happened this year, last year, 2025, in the Spar Grand Prix is I think what we expected to happen. We expected Glenrose to dominate. She did, which shows that she's now, the main 10 kilometer female athletes in South Africa and can even beat some of the East Africans.
And any possible replacement? I'm looking at, there's a young lady, Taylor Kavanagh. She runs well. From what when I watched her, she runs very well. And then inland, we've got, I think Karabo Mailula, she's struggling between her books and running, but she's performing well. You've got the likes of Karabo More and others. Can we expect to see someone stepping into the 4, maybe taking over from Glenrose if Glenrose decides to maybe focus on marathon and half marathon?
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head there. It will have to be Taylor Kavanagh. Remember that when Glenrose was struggling with injuries around 2021, 2020, 2022, Taylor Kavanagh was beating her. Taylor Kavanagh was the SA 10 kilometer champion when the race coincided with the return from COVID of the ABSA Run Your City series. In the ABSA Run Your City Durban 10K, Taylor Kavanagh ran 32:10 then. But then, she was still 21, in the body, growing and injuries. So she struggled for a few years, but last season came back in a big way and managed to break 32 for the first time. So she's also a 31-minute runner. And certainly, I think, for me, is a more natural 10-kilometer athlete than even Glenrose. At her best, I think right now, Taylor is probably, South Africa's best 10-kilometer athlete, because I count Glenrose now more of a half marathon and a marathon athlete, given the years she's been running, given her performance. So I would say that replacement has to be Taylor. And if she can stay injury-free, she would be the one. And I think she can now, because she's no longer being coached by a specific coach. She bounced around between a few coaches until she decided, with her and her parents, her mother in particular, that they will run their own affairs. And that has brought out the best in her, and we saw that in 2025. So I think in 2026, like the penultimate race of Spar in Khubeka, we saw Glenrose winning. We saw Abaraya, the Nedbank athlete from Ethiopia, coming second, and Kavanagh coming from behind, passing Selam Gebre to take third place. And so I think we will see a lot more of Taylor in the Spar, in particular Spar Grand Prix, and I think she could run quite well and maybe even finish in the top 3 overall at the end of 2026.
Oh, I see. And then you've got the Hollywood race, which is, I think it's anyone to take. Like, it doesn't have anyone who won it like consistently. So if currently you've got the Joburg and the Durban leg, and I hope maybe they will have another leg, maybe in Cape Town or somewhere else.
Well, there has been that talk for some time. After the Joburg leg here, we did ask Greg Klossop of Hollywood, he leads the club there, and he just smiled and said, watch this space. So perhaps there could be one coming up in 2026. We'll wait to see. But I guess the difference with Hollywood is that, for example, Spar would approach at the beginning of the year. ABSA do the same thing. Many of the athletes, they say, please come and run our race. Hollywood, it's still a fairly new race. They're still getting to grips with that side of things of race organizing. So they haven't gotten to the stage yet where they contract athletes at the beginning of the year to run their races. Spar do that with the main, but what's on the level of Glenrose, and ABSA do the same thing with many of the top athletes like your Mulaudis and others. So then if I haven't signed on paper that I'll run your race and maybe I get injured or I'm feeling tired, then I skip your race and then someone else comes in. So we'll have to see. That's why the Hollywood race generally depends on who is running. We saw Frida Ndinda, for example, the Kenyan. She likes to come and run the Hollywood race, defending her title here in Joburg. And then we see different winners in Durban depending on who's there. So this year, for example, Glenrose was available. She went and ran and she won the race. You see, so but the previous year she didn't run, so we had Neheng Khatala winning the race. So it just depends on who's there, but also a very important race, the Durban one in particular, because it's on a fast course. The prize money is good, so we can see fast times. And I hope that this year in the Hollywood race in particular, we'll see maybe 1 or 2 of the stronger East Africans. I mean, no aspersions cast on some of the Kenyans who live and train in South Africa, but we're not talking about those. We're talking about the ones who ran there, who are trying to qualify for the Olympics and stuff. We had 1 or 2 of those they really push the races along, the Kenyans and Ethiopians, and then that encourages our ladies to run faster.
And then there's a race that I only participated in this year, which I covered, which is before we go to 21, the Boxer 5 kilometers. I mean, we don't have many of good paying 5 kilometer races, and Boxer is there. So what is the importance of having such a race in the South African running calendar?
I think a good question, because historically, I mean, you and I know we've run this race from Durban to Pietermaritzburg before. South Africa has been a very ultra marathon focused running community, and this was also spurred on by the years of sporting isolation, when we didn't compete in the Olympic Games and the World Championships, and also so Comrades Day became like Olympic Day.
Yeah, so we had to create something of our own.
Exactly. So it skewed the running markets to focus on this.
Comrades, and hence when the late bloomers start running, they will all focus on Comrades.
Correct. But now the truth is, in the rest of the world, ultra running is a very small percentage.
Yeah.
Is pretty much an anomaly compared to the numbers. The most well-attended distance in the world is 10 kilometers in terms of road running, and 5 kilometers is growing. World Athletics has made a concerted effort to grow the 5 kilometer distance as an accessible distance, I beg your pardon, but 5 kilometers on the road now as a competitive distance for which there are world records. So we now need to then have those distances in South Africa, so that we can also qualify, for example, for 5 kilometer races and have national records. That's why it needs to exist, and it's also an important stepping stone for athletes leaving the track, transitioning to the road.
Yeah, I mean,
so if you're a 1500 meter runner, for you to go from 15 to 10, people think, but you got speed, just do some long run. It's not that easy when you're trying to run at the front. So that's why it takes them some time. But now with 5, you can transition.
It's a good transition in distance, yeah.
Exactly, from 5 and then to 10. So I think Boxer have done a fabulous job, because it was a gap in the market, and they've taken it. And I'd like to see more of the faster ones. The Joburg one is okay, but hey,
my heels and altitude.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So I really like the Durban one. It's fast, it's flat, and as you say, it pays well. So we see a really quality field, and maybe in the near future we could see. I like Khourahlane in particular. That's a good city for road records. We could see something there or elsewhere, or even other parts of the country, rather than us always going for 21, 42. And also they attract the younger markets.
Yes, I was gonna say you attract the juniors, so that you sort of welcome them into the world of road running, which is the 10, the 21. Yeah. And then let's switch over to 21 kilometers, which is not so popular in South Africa, I think, judging by what I've seen happening in the world. Why are we not having a 21 kilometer? Like, I know there's Foskor 21 kilometer, which is a popular race, but why are we not having a 21 kilometer prime races in South Africa?
Well, I think those are the only two. So you've mentioned Foskor, and we've had the Nelson Mandela Bay Half Marathon, which has been happening for many years, and I think for 8 occasions it was an SA Champs Half Marathon race. The reason why we don't have it is because 21 kilometers in South Africa has always been one lap of 42. 42 to qualify for Comrades. So it's back to the Comrades story. And there are very few standalone 21 kilometer races. We're going to one this weekend, the Biogen Half Marathon. And that one, because of the beginning of the year, people say, I'm coming back with a 21. But if you want a 21 in April, people say, it's too short. I need more mileage for the ultra season. So that's why we are where we are. But still, it is a distance that is growing in terms of mass participation from runners who've done 10 kilometers, feel like they've achieved it, and now want something more, but are not ready for 42, because however you look at it, 42 is a long way, guys.
Yeah.
I know in South Africa we take it like pap and place.
No, for us it's like Tebello Ramakongoana. He just like he will just go and insult everyone and say Comrades is a pack run. So just that statement alone just tells you what about the marathon distance. It's marathon. It's a long distance, and I usually tell people who seek advice from me, who want to start running, I tell them the best distance is 21 kilometers. It's short enough to test your fitness and long enough to give you a workout.
Mm-hmm. So 21 remains popular for that reason, and I think also it's about the economics of the whole thing. Perhaps the feeling amongst race organizers is that, well, you're putting out the refreshment tables, you're closing the roads and everything for 21, you may as well double it up and do 42, and then you get a bigger field of all those Comrades qualifiers, etc. And then economically it works out a little bit better. So that's why, because for example, even the Nelson Mandela Bay Half Marathon, I think you don't get more than 3,000 running there for a specialist 21k race. So that's the economics of road running in South Africa, which is skewed towards the ultras.
Post Comrades, you see lots of 10-21 kilometer races. I guess because the hunger is not there. There's no hunger in terms of there's nothing that is pulling the marathon, the ultra marathon runners. So
that time of the year.
So is there does this offer a cap to those maybe sponsors who want to grow the 21 kilometer market?
Well, I guess the question is best asked to a club like Waterfall. Waterfall have had their half marathon, as you are aware, for a few years now, which was in August, ne? Yeah, it was in August. But last year the date shifted to September. But traditionally it was in August, just after Comrades, the first or second week of August. So since then they've enjoyed now very good participation, people coming in numbers. And last year when I was attended the launch, the sponsor said, "Oh, you guys are doing very well. Come, we need 42."
So pressure, and I think the pressure even from the running community.
Correct.
Alone.
Yeah. They said, "You are doing very well. Your race is so well organized. Give us 42." In South Africa, when you do well, they said, "Give us 42." Give us 42. Even I remember Donald Matipa with the Tembisa Mile.
I was going to mention that.
For many years, people have been pressurizing him to say, "They are 21, at 21." And he said, "No, this is 10 kilometer and a mile." You see? So I think because of our love for distance, once someone does well at hosting an event that is a shorter distance, we, as you say, put them under pressure to lengthen, and it may not be the solution. As you say, there's a place for everything. So I guess it depends on the clubs, the time of the year, the market. I don't have the answer to that question, but maybe someone, as you say, like Waterfall, could be better placed to answer that question about 21 kilometer races, because a lot of them have,
and they do have a sponsor
to 42.
Yeah, they do have a good sponsor there.
They do indeed an attack. They've done very, very well. And they, again, after their race, we asked them, you've done well. Are you going to do 42? Apply for 42 in 2026? And the word from the race organizer, Mpo, who said, Hold your horses. Watch this space. We still feel as though we need to perfect it, but who knows?
And looking at the 21, I think maybe because Cape Town Marathon now is moving to May, and it opens another can of worms for marathon for the races now to get that spot of hosting marathons. I mean, you've seen the likes of GP Kwandam now moving their race to September. I think you can see that they're now trying to address the hunger for a marathon. I don't know if we can win on trying to push for a 21 kilometer race in South Africa, if that's the case.
Well, I think so there are two answers to that question. Traditionally, Comrades qualifiers and Two Oceans qualifiers will tend to begin. Well, let me start with Comrades and leave out Two Oceans. will tend to begin around September.
Yeah.
In this part of the world, I'm talking Gauteng. Yeah, Gauteng. So I'm including Vaal. So I'm Vaal Triangle, Gauteng North, Central Gauteng. Even if you go to Mpumalanga, the first ones will be early September. Remember that before COVID, Jeppy, which was then sponsored by Pick n Pay, was in mid-February, and they didn't have much competition on that date. That was before Run Zone was the juggernaut that it is now.
Yeah.
So for a few years, they've been going head to head on the same weekend and all of that. Something which really needs to be addressed at CGA in terms of the calendar. It's very full.
Yeah, it's very busy.
It's very busy.
I mean, you get 2 races in a day. I was looking at the calendar this morning. On the 1st of March, if I'm not mistaken, you get your Uriti 1021, and there's another one somewhere. So yeah, it's very busy.
Exactly.
Good luck with that.
Exactly. So then I think that has spurred Jeppy on to say September's quiet. September is when people are starting to look for marathons again, those who are looking for an early qualifier, because Comrades was in June. You rest for the rest of June. July you start running. August you do a 21. September you can do a 42. So that's why they have gone for it there. So it's now an early season qualifier. I don't think it interferes with Cape Town, because that October block will still be full. It means that Soweto, the Soweto Marathon, being this year it was in late November. Traditionally it's in early November for the last while. Is then probably, I don't know, is better suited for that beginning of November.
Or
because if you're not going to Cape Town and you're from this part of the world, you may as well go there, or you go to Kapsawurp. So those few races, and then also it frees if for CGA tough one. So I mean there are a whole lot of things, but I think Cape Town's move is a little bit different, because Cape Town are saying that we are not about the Comrades runner.
Yeah.
Okay, we are like Tokyo or London or Chicago or whatever. This is about people who just want to run 142 a year, enjoy themselves. Even if they take 8 hours or 7 hours, it's not about qualifying.
Yeah.
Whereas all these other races,
it's addressing a different market. Yeah.
Correct. So it's very different. So I don't think Cape Town will be affected, and I think the likes of, there will be 1 or 2 moves maybe to September, October, and then it can still work. Yeah.
The reason why I asked about why are we not having 21 kilometers, which are specialists, and they are they've got good sponsors like your Run ABSA, your city, is that I saw a young man who went to somewhere in Asia. I think in Singapore. I think he came first. I forgot his name. There's a young man, just a month ago, he went to Singapore, and I'll get his
South African.
He's a South African.
Okay, there are a few historically South Africans who've run well in half marathon races around the world, but they are the ones in Singapore are not the same level as, for example, let me use the Valencia half marathon because we've just spoken about it, where Adrian set the SA record. Yeah. So he ran inside 60 minutes, running a 59. You see, so in those races, the winner is going to win in 57. Maybe 58 low. So those are the well-paying half marathons around the world. So now, how many South Africans can run even 59? So the only 59 runners that we have right now is Tabang Musiako, is Yena Adrian, and can I still count Steven? Because now he's changing, his career is a bit older. He ran his last 59 a while ago, in 2020. You see, so it limits those opportunities. I do agree. It means that we would benefit from a specialist 21k race, but it needs to be the right kind of race. You need to have the elite athlete element, meaning that it's probably likely to be coastal. And secondly, you need to then encourage the mass participation element, and you're not going to get as many entries as you would for a 10-kilometer race. So maybe the economics then don't make sense, and sponsors are spoiled for choice, because you go to any marathon, 8,000 people. And then I tell you, no, I've got a half marathon, I'm getting 3,000. They say, you see, so that's maybe challenging.
Switching gears to marathon, I think we've been talking about marathons. I mean, we have started the marathon season already. You can feel even the smell in the air. You can smell marathons from all corners of South Africa. I mean, end of this month we are starting with our first marathons, and as we have alluded to, the pool is the Oceans and Comrades. But still, we as a country, I feel we need to have marathon specialists, and we need to I think we owe it to ourselves to have marathon specialists and have those specialists that like run the 208s, run the world best times.
So we've got a few, perhaps we need to have more. I think is the key word, that word, more. Elroy Gelant, he ran the SA record last year, 205. He is deciding with his management, but he may go to the Tokyo Marathon, which is the first World Marathon major race of the year. So we might see him there in March. And then we've got Adam Lipschitz, who usually will run London and Valencia. Didn't have a great race in Valencia at the end of this year, but is someone who has been under 210 before. And then, we mentioned Bennett Seloyi. I think the first 6 months of this year will tell us, but he's someone who should belong to that sub 210 club. Stephen, maybe he's changed now a little bit more towards the ultras, but he has been a marathon specialist for many years. He had been signed up to run Cape Town, so who knows, he may run again. Desmond Mokoloma had been signed up to run Cape Town. He's another sub 210 man. So there are a few, but we need maybe more coming up, because we are losing Bomokoka. Dez's best performances are a few years ago. Elroy came up, Adam came up. This year we're hoping Bennett Seloyi will step up, but we need more. We can't be having one and now and again. We've got Tabang now as well.
I was just gonna say, we've got Tabang Misiago, we've got Bennett Seloyi. I think those are the two men that have thrown their name in the head on the marathon front.
Correct. So if we count those two, and then plus we count Elroy and Adam, then we've got 4 at the moment, not on historic form, but at the moment sub 210 marathoners, and it's not bad. Those runners will improve as we get more 10k sub 28. That's how it goes for most of them. Those who don't have sub 28, like Eliud Kipchoge, hasn't got a sub 28, but he moved to the marathon early and he's got like a 28:12 or 28:10. Didn't run many 10k races, but we need some guys who've got 10k 28 early, that when they step up this side, it translates to the marathon. So because of the success of the ABSA Run Your City series in the last little while, it's given us opportunities, and then later now with the Hollywood race coming, it's given the guys opportunities to run these times. And now when they start switching to the marathon, then they will be what you are calling marathon specialists at that sub 210 level. And I think then we'll begin to see them now starting to compete in major races against the East Africans.
The reason why I'm raising this one is that, do we have like ranked marathon runners in South Africa?
Yes,
like
Elroy. Elroy, he is, because of that 205 that he enjoyed. I think the best example of the South African who is not a South African is actually Tebello Ramakongoana. The man from Lesotho. He was 3rd at the Sydney Marathon last year.
Which is
the World Marathon Major. He was on the podium now recently at the Tata 25k in India, which is a big race. And he was 4th at the World Championships, in the top 10 at the Olympic Games. But where did he start? Running for XL, running the first Hollywood Durban 10k, where he came. It was won by Colin Mulaudzi. He was 2nd. Nicolas Siposengwe was 3rd. Running the Nelson Mandela Bay Half Marathon with Precious Marshall, racing against Precious Marshall and Tabang Musiako. Using that opportunity to perform well at the World Championships, where he was spotted by an American coach who then opened the European doors for him. So our problem in South Africa tends to be this: when an athlete runs well here and now goes to a big race there, like Olympics or World Champs, on the big day, I don't know what it is, But for many years, even going back, because I've had a long conversation with Hendrik Ramala, for example, about this, that he was fit. When he gets to the Olympics, he's tololo. Then he goes and wins the New York Marathon.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that has been our challenge, and that's why our guys now can't get to that level, because now Ramakongoana is a 206 man. You see, the same thing of Isaac Mpofu, the Zimbabwean, was running a lot in South Africa, running for Nedbank, went and won the Durban International with that whole thing of the license, disqualified, not disqualified. There he ran in front of Tebello Ramakongoana, I think, was it 210? Yes, 210. Went to the World Championships in Oregon, ran a top 10 there. The rest is history. Now he's getting invited to races around the world, ran a Zimbabwean national record, he's a 206 man. So our guys, they do the same thing as Basotho, as Mazimbabwe here, but now when you get there to the Olympic Games, hey, the guy runs number 35. And you say, what went wrong? He says, I had a bad day.
But then, what do we need to get right as South Africans? Because we do have the talent, even if it's not that much, but we do have the talent, or we do have the facilities.
Don't listen to people. We have a lot of talent. Go and watch juniors. I'm telling you, that's why when you go to the World Junior Championships, South Africans are in the South African team overall in terms of the medals table will be number 6. So we've got lots of talent. It's just those years now, and I think the main challenge is poverty and hunger. If I am Roto or Musobodi and I come from Limpopo or I come from Northwest and I'm running and I'm not spotted and I don't go to Tuks, I don't go to Northwest University, I don't go to Pantane, I don't go to somewhere, it's over. It's over. When I finish, so I can run in school until I get to matric and maybe, but those years in university where I'm not yet fast enough to beat Bomukoka, that means I can't make money. Then my parents tell me, I'm going to go to the country.
Go and
go and work, and then I go. So I have a few of those stories, and I remember one athlete telling me that he's now got an ulcer because in those years his family, he's originally from Limpopo, his family, and he was living here with a family in Gauteng. I said, hey, you must go and work this running thing, and you're going every day, you're coming back empty-handed. And then they at a mall, he would lie and say he's going to the mall, he's going to train,
and he doesn't have food,
and he hasn't eaten. So he ended up making a living out of running, but that's what he had to go through, and who can go through that kind of hardship?
Yeah, because I mean, that's something that is worrying me, because when you look at the majors, you don't see South Africans there. But if you look at, I mean, we've got a lot of races, we've got facilities that can bring us up to that standard, at least.
So yeah, we just need to fill that gap. Athletics South Africa are trying, and I think the reintroduction of the under 23 age group, which I wasn't sure was a good idea, but now I stand corrected, is beginning to bear fruit. And I even recently I spoke to someone like Christopher Swart from Northwest University, who said that, and Luan Manik, who said the reintroduction of that age group means that when you are struggling, just when you're 21, your first year as a senior, now you've got at least an age group where you can perform well and get good results, which will help you to retain your bursary, to attract a sponsor, and also importantly, to keep your confidence that you don't quit, because now you are racing against seniors and they are whipping you, and you're used to winning when you were a junior. So that is an important step taken by Athletics South Africa. But I think the main thing is funding, but not funding, cap in hand funding. For example, the way the Kenyan system works, you just walk into a training camp, okay, say I'm here to train, we'll train, and but in training you must win, because the few then will be taken to Europe. The managers come there and have a look. So because we don't have as many in terms of numbers, what we need here in South Africa is to have this Campia Roto with 10 athletes.
We must have enough pools so that when coaches or own managers come, they can actually, they will be spoiled for choice in terms of, say, they would know coming to South Africa.
Yes.
I can go there. I can go there.
Right now we have them, but they aren't big enough. We've got Press Point, we've got Hendrik, we've got Mbambane, we've got Mdu, we've got a few of them. But in every one of those groups, there's one athlete maybe who's world class. You see, so we don't have enough of them. So those groups are important because those groups will accommodate youngsters who haven't got a bachelor's pass. Because even if I haven't got a bachelor's pass, at least I can go to Roto's group and say, last year Niki Winadi Crosso, I'm from Transkei, can I join your group? Hey, but I haven't got any money. Then you say, no, it's fine. I've got a building. You can live in my flat. You can train here for a year. When you start winning races, you see. So I think that's something that can take us further to accommodate all those youngsters who can't get into university and then spend those years training and improving whilst they're in varsity.
And then as we wrap the marathon, we had this year Thabang Msiako going to run in is that Abu Dhabi?
Correct.
And then you had Elroy Gelant breaking the South African marathon record. We had I think we had many events whereby we had Glenrose running, even though she didn't run as expected.
But still, number 6 is not bad.
I'm just saying, if had she ran her target, which is sub 220, she would have made it to podium.
Correct.
So in 2026, what can we look for in terms of? Do you have confidence that we will maybe see the likes of Adam Lipschitz maybe representing us well in the internationally on marathons?
Yeah, I think marathons, it's 2026 is one of those transitional years as we move towards the end of the next Olympic cycle in 2028. So 2026, the dominant event will be the World Road Running Championships, where the main event is the 21K race. We saw in 2023, for example, where Thabang Msiako took position 6 and South Africa finished 3rd on the podium with the team prize. So for those 21s, it will be, probably Msiako, Wiersma, that kind of a team. And then, so the marathons will be limited to big city marathons and not championship events, because we've got a Commonwealth Games this year, but Commonwealth is Commonwealth, and then we've got the World Road Running, and then we've got the World Juniors. Those are the kind of the main things that are happening this year. So I think then in terms of the big cities, then we've got to see who gets invited where and how they can perform. Adam Lipschitz is someone who likes to run London, usually in April. Maybe we'll see Elroy, as I've mentioned, now in Tokyo in March. And there, those are races being won by 202, 201 athletes.
If you're at 205, podium is even difficult. It's top 10.
Exactly. So, Elroy had been on 204 pace when he ran 205. So maybe for Elroy, the target is 204, which would see him, running well inside the top 10, and which would still be a good position. But you're right. The fact remains, the last South African to win a major race was Hendrik Ramala, and that was in 2004, the New York Marathon. He was also 3rd in London. He was 2nd and 3rd in New York in addition to that win. So he's the last main marathon. We did have Lusapo April, I think 2013, running 3rd in New York. But since then, we haven't had a podium finisher at a World Marathon major race, for over a decade. Will we see it this year? Maybe. And if I have to pick someone, I would say, it's difficult to say, but I would say, you see, because Glenrose is probably going to run the half marathon at the World Road Running Championships, which is in the second half of the year, maybe she will then run a marathon.
Towards the end?
No.
Or before?
Before.
Yeah.
Because then the focus will be there. So who knows? If maybe Glenrose gets one of them, because they are not the same. Like, for example, Boston in Ali Hilinyana, you know what I mean? Where South African can probably run a little bit better, like New York, in Ali Hilinyana. But London is
fairly flat.
Berlin.
Berlin pancakes.
You see? So Chicago fast as well. So it depends on the race. So I would say, if Glenrose runs her very best race in one of those slightly tougher big city marathons, she can come third, you know, running a 2:19 because they are maybe a little bit tougher.
2:16 win.
Yeah, you know, it's outside, but yeah, I would more likely go for top 5. But then it would have to be someone maybe like Elroy. Yeah, I think it would probably have to be someone like Elroy because Adam is a little bit far in terms of time for now, and then maybe Adam and Adrian the day he decides that he wants to be a marathoner. Yeah, we'll do that. So if I have to bet, I will say Elroy, depending on the race, is probably the best bet to get closer to somewhere there, position 3.
And then will we be putting pressure if we asking Glenrose to be a marathon specialist? Because I mean, on the ladies front, I think in South Africa, I mean, even in the ultras, you struggle to get a specialist in those distances.
I think it's early. I think it's early for Glenrose, given that she's only run 2 marathons, as well as she's done in breaking the South African record at the first attempt. She still has a little bit more to offer in terms of half marathon specifically. I would say, I mean, she's 30 years old last year, in 2025 at the end of the year, turning 30. I would say that Glenrose would need to run 66 for the half marathon. She's currently 68, or at least 67, very low. You know, but I would be more comfortable with 66 minutes for the half marathon. And once you can run 66 minutes for the half marathon, then she can say, okay, right now I'm running marathons. Yeah, because then it means that each time she runs a marathon, she will break 2:20, and that means that she will be invited to every single one of the big city marathons, and now she can make a good living for herself. But for now, she still has some 10k value to offer, and that 10k value in the Spar Grand Prix in the ABSA Run Your City series will certainly help her to improve her half marathon time and use that then to build on that ultimate goal of breaking 2:20.
And then we move to what we are popularly known for, ultra running in South Africa now. I mean, ultra, let's just go talk about, there's few good ultras here in South Africa, and I think most of them are known for their tougher courses. I don't know of any easy ultra in South Africa. I can't recall of. I'm trying to think. I think Irene Ultra is the fairly easy one.
The 48k, yeah,
it's fairly. Even Benoni is fairly.
Fair enough.
Fairly flat, but most of them. I mean, even Loskop, I think it's. But when you look at Loskop, you look at Omdidam, you go to Two Oceans, you go to Comrades, mostly are hilly. What can we look out for? Let's start with the ladies, because we've been talking about men. The likes of Ivette Van Zyl, I think she's now full blown in the ultras. She's running marathons. Although you'll see her running the shorter distances, but I think now she's a seasoned ultra runner.
I think the ultras will be exciting this year, specifically Two Oceans. The reason for that is that, like we saw at the African Bank Soweto Marathon, I think Gerda will be tested.
There's that lady, man,
from Zambia.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Mokoloma. Yeah. We saw her. She ran out hard in the beginning of the marathon with the Kenyan, who eventually won the race in the colors of Nedbank at Soweto. But Elizabeth, I guess what's different is that we saw her having the confidence to lead Comrades in 2025.
Yeah.
So that said, whoa, who's this one?
And there's this Muruiki, I think it's Muruiki running for Insika
as well. Yeah, she was third at Comrades, and again she went out with that lead bunch at Soweto. Eventually blew, and Gerda picked her up nicely and came into third. But because of all of those names that you mentioned, and Ivette, some of those are more marathon specialists. Remember, Mokoloma is coming up from 21 to 42. Now 42 starting the ultras. So she's got more speed, and we saw because they ran 2:34 to win Soweto.
Yeah.
You see, and those are the kind of times that Ivette was running when she was winning. The course record there's 2:33. So I think that is the perfect meeting. And Gerda also, because she has got a very good standard marathon still, You know, she was not so long ago the national record holder. It's still got a good 42 pace.
222, yeah.
Exactly. It's got a good base, that 224, to run a good 56. So if you say Ivette, Gerda, Mokoloma, Shelmith, as you mentioned, one or two Kenyans, including the one that won Soweto. Not forgetting the few Ethiopians that Nick Bester usually brings. One or two of them have finished third, you know, with the likes of Werku and others. It gives you a very hot race. Because when it comes to Comrades, there's only one queen. The rest are running for second place, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
Because Gerda is just so head and shoulders above them.
Yeah.
And she's confident enough to run her own race that she can let the others lead and still catch them.
You can see when she's running, she's just confident. She doesn't look like worried that
she's beating men. She's beating strong guys. Stop. She's finishing, you know, inside the top 30.
Yeah.
You know, so I think for Comrades, it's a different story, maybe. And also she has experience. So I know people are mentioning Ivette, but we need to keep in mind that will be Yvette's first up run next year.
Yeah.
You know, so we mustn't put undue pressure on her. So Comrades will be the Gerda Steyn story, unless maybe something untoward happens, you know. But it's the Gerda Steyn story. But Two Oceans, that one is going to be fire, because honestly, I wouldn't want to pick a winner before the race, and I think Gerda, for the first time since that wonderful race she had against Yvette, is going to have a tough time on
at Two Oceans.
At Two Oceans.
Yeah. And I mean, you spoke about one lady who I think she won city to city as well.
Correct, she won city to city as well.
Yeah, you can see.
She's a veteran, but people said, hey, this 40-year-old, how's she doing?
Yeah.
But is running extremely well. And when we put all of them together, I think the Two Oceans 56-kilometer women's race is going to be fire.
And then
not forgetting, we haven't even counted Neheng, who was third this year.
Oh yeah, Neheng Katana.
So, and she's got a good standard marathon. Two Oceans women's race. Malelo. Yeah, fire.
And then I think another best race after that is paying well in South Africa is the Soweto. That is where I think that's why we've seen what we saw this year. I mean, Gerda was there, and I think even when I spoke to her, she didn't sound convincing to say, I'm going to take this one. She said, no, it's my first Soweto, no pressure, I'm just going to run my own race.
And I think her presence certainly lifted the race, because other athletes, those who went out early, were going out because they didn't want to see
knew that they
close to them.
Yeah,
exactly. So for example, Elizabeth knows that she's got superior 21-kilometer speed. Said, I need to go hard. She caught me at Comrades, she won't catch me this time.
Yeah.
So Gerda's presence definitely lifted the Soweto Marathon in 2025, and wherever she's running, because of the way that she's loved and the way she interacts with people, she definitely lifts the event. And I think that's why, as I mentioned, at Two Oceans, we're going to see a fire race with all those other women, because we can't predict a winner right now.
And then the men's, there's something about the men's. Every year I look forward to Khonkhobe easily winning the Two Oceans. My reason is that, I mean, you look at the way he's running Comrades up to 70 kilometers, the way, like, when he passes the 60-kilometer mark, the 56-kilometer mark at Comrades, looking at those brutal hills, I mean, to me it says he can easily just, like, Two Oceans would be a walkover for him.
I think the difference is, in one race he's running to win, in the other race he's running to stop at a certain point.
Yeah.
You see, Comrades, he has not been running to win the race, nor has he been running to finish. He's been running under club instructions. Disturb, exactly, to be a rabbit and disturb the other runners there in the bunch. You see, so he's been running as a member of a team. Whereas at Two Oceans, he's running to win, so he's more circumspect. He's running in the bunch. He's not going to take it out hard and then run. So for us to see the best of Khonkhobe at Two Oceans, either he's got to decide that I'm chasing the record, or someone with a faster standard marathon needs to go out hard. Someone like a Mukoka. You see, if Musobodi goes out hard, they will just leave you and say, "Ah, bad, as Mazi, he will come back to us." But if Stephen Mukoka decides to commit to the race and he passes 21k in 64 minutes, then they will start to worry because the last two oceans, the men have been running so slowly in the first half that you remember Gerda was even running with them. I don't know, was it this year or last year?
No.
Next to Bongmusa.
Yeah.
That's how slow the men were in the first 21.
And that's the easiest. I mean, that's the easiest part of the race.
So they are still watching each other and all of that. So if someone like Stephen or someone else, or maybe even Seutloali, because now he's a man, let's not forget, who's been to the Olympic Games for the standard marathon and has got a decent 21. And in fact, in 10k ABSA, Tshwane was in the first bunch. He ran top 10 against 10k specialist. If he decides, hey, I'm going for the record, I'm going hard, Khonkhobe can't sit back and leave him alone. A danger man like that. And then we will see a fast time. And then we will see the best of Khonkhobe. But if it's the same old script that we've been seeing for the last 2 or 3 years, where they're sitting there watching each other until they get to the top of Constantia Neck, and then they start to kill each other sprinting to the finish, then we're going to see the same thing. 309 to win, 308 late, and that's it. For us to see a 305, like the great Marco Mambo, the guy was running hard from, so that, I think that's why.
So that's where we can.
Khonkhobes.
Yeah, that's where we can unleash the you know, Khonkhobes. I like the Khonkhobe's nickname. His name is Kenya. So that's where we'll see the best of Kenya.
Exactly. So those who are close to him call him Kenya. In training they call him Kenya, and then those who know him wider, they call him the head of the table, because he always calls himself the head of the table in the pre-race.
He's a self-proclaimed head of the table.
We need this kind of characters. Khonkhobe Kamarata, because he's making this thing called running exciting. And I remember this year Two Oceans announced before the race, seated next to Mukoka and Give Momo Ziganyama, who won in 2023, that guys, tomorrow this camera will be looking at me.
Yeah.
Super
spot will be on me.
Super spot will be on me. I said, yes, that's what we need. And he didn't win the race. He eventually withdrew.
Yeah.
But he created a lot of excitement, and people wanted them to tune in and watch the fireworks.
Yeah, but I think for his age, if personally, I believe if he were to focus on winning Two Oceans, I think he can easily do that.
Yeah, and I think Khonkhobe still has a lot to offer, even in the standard marathon.
Yeah.
There has been a lot of talk about saying, okay, maybe he must run 56 because now that's where, he's gained popularity, and that's maybe where his economic value as a runner is. But in the second half of the year, why can't he try and run a fast 42
in overseas?
Or then there was Cape Town in October. Obviously it's changed, but then they were talking about, okay, let him go and run Cape Town and run sub to 12. So I'm not sure what the thinking is, because there was a time when his coach Tete Dijana had mentioned that they were going to try and get him to run a faster standard marathon. I'm not sure what has happened in terms of that, but certainly Two Oceans would be part of his plan. And he will be like many others, him, Seutloali, and others would be, he's going to give us a hot race in 2026.
Two Oceans. I think the focus now goes to the big C. It will be an upper run, and Tete hasn't won an upper run. With what happened in 2024, and what's your take on the Comrades upper run 2026?
Tete will always say, Bruce is fond of making fun of him, saying, "You're not a real Comrades champion until you win an up run." So he has made it his goal to win the up run in 2026, and I think that would complete it for him. Would count him alongside greats such as Bruce and Bongmusa Mthembu and others. He really does need to win an up run.
And Stephen
Muzingi, exactly. Those legendary Comrades athletes. So it won't be easy, because Piet ran a fabulous up run in 2024. Timed his assault to perfection, And I think the golden rule of the uprun is get to the top of polys first, win the race.
Yeah.
No one has ever got to the top of polys first and lost. So that's it. Tete's success also depends on the dynamics of the team.
The heavy bunch.
Because that day on the uprun in 2024, it wasn't only Tete who had a bad race. Slender also, Edward Mothibi had a bad race as well. So I would think, because even though Slender, because Slender won the uprun in 2019, actually.
Yes, yeah,
exactly.
beating Wongusam Tembu.
Correct, and he was fourth.
I think he beat him at Polyshots.
On the summit.
Yeah.
So he will have to rely, or he does rely a lot on the knowledge and experience of Slender. So I think that would be a key in him winning the uprun. But he's motivated. He's motivated to win it. He believes that's the one that's missing. So it will be great to see. And Piet is coming back to win it, because remember, he fell just short of the record in 2024 of Leonid Shvetsov's record. So he now would want to come back, as he said after winning that race, that hey, if I had known, if someone had told me when I was 5Ks that hey, I'm on record time, maybe I could have chased it. So now for him, maybe setting a new uprun record. So I think we will see fireworks. And then the uprun is a different kind of a race, more of a pace race and less of a race proper. And that's why we see a lot of Europeans in particular picking up runners from the back. There's someone like Alex Milne, who was 60th at halfway and ended up running top 10. Kivmo Muziganyama also picked up runners and ran number 10. The Russians, one or two of them will pick up runners, because the uprun is unforgiving in the last 30 kilometers, and that's where a lot of people die. And runners who are not in that first bunch can just come from behind and slice their way through the field. So let's see. But I think that will maybe we need to see how the season develops. But I think those two for now, Tete and Piet, will be the two that we're watching when it goes to the uprun.
So let's borrow from what Tete said last year. Let's see who will open their legs wider to breast the tape.
Exactly.
But then, so that is Comrades for you. That's Comrades uprun. So looking from where we're sitting, it will be a Nedbank versus on the ladies, again the Hollywood affair.
Yeah, I know. Gerda, it's difficult to see who can challenge her. Really, it is. And especially on the uprun. I mean, she became the first woman to break 6 hours on the uprun. And we saw last year she almost broke 5:50 for a woman on the uprun. That's fire.
I mean, even to get a Willie Hayward at an uprun is not an easy thing.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, the top 10 men,
yes,
you find some even get outside the 6 hour mark.
Yeah, back in the days. I mean, recently, as recently maybe as around 2018, 17, you might have less than 20 men breaking 6 hours. You see what I'm saying? So there would only be maybe 6 or 7 or 8 Wally Hayward medals on an uprun. And now you've got Gerda running 5:51.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
So I think she is head and shoulders above them, and I think it's more apparent on the uprun. So it should be the Gerda Steyn show. And the thing about Gerda, she's also meticulous in her planning. If she got it right 2 years ago, and she got it right in 2019 when she first won the uprun, she's going to repeat that thing in training, and she keeps all her meticulous diaries. You see, and she's going to run the splits, and you see. So that's why I say it's very difficult for someone to beat Gerda at Comrades. And I think for her, if she's going to lose a race, the small chance, the slight chance, I beg your pardon, that she'll lose it would have to be two Oceans and not Comrades.
And then looking at the men's field at Comrades, I think every year you get to see the upcoming contenders throwing their name in the hat by maybe becoming top 10. I mean, this year the top 10 was surprising because it consisted of mainly runners who have previously won Comrades. I mean, the likes of David Khadebe, Musam Tembu, and the likes. And I think they came to, I don't know what, encouraged like the likes of David Khadebe to run last year's Comrades. I don't think he will be contesting the up run. But then, can we look? Is there anyone in specific that you think they might start throwing their name in the hat, maybe to take over from Slender, Mothibi, and the likes?
Yeah, no, they are. It's just that Comrades is very, very far. It's a long distance, and it requires experience. I would say maybe someone like Lindelani Mjwaha had a good down run Comrades this year. Comrades is also about learning from others. It's difficult to do it on your own. So Mjwaha has benefited from Prodigal Khumalo, who has a number of Comrades goals, and he ran a very strong Wally Hayward last year. He was, one of those men who finished in front of Gerda, but outside the gold, the top 10. So he had a very good one. He's someone I think we need to watch for a top 10 finish this year at Comrades. And then there are others, but I wouldn't like to call their names because some of them are debutants. For example, a debut we can't say much about.
The reason why I asked this is I thought you'll throw that guy who won, who did the 100-kilometer and who broke a record of 100-kilometer under 6 hours.
Yes.
Remember that guy?
Yes.
He said he's going for Comrades. I know Comrades is a different animal altogether. So
these people have come. I remember having this debate with Q and the Japanese chap, man. He's such a beautiful
the Japanese guy who won the 100.
Yes.
I know the name.
I don't know why his name escapes me for the moment. But you were told, hey, this guy's going to win Comrades. Go Pilapo. And we've had one or two Japanese coming because they really respect the Comrades marathon, and they also have a strong ultra marathon tradition, and it's wonderful to see the athletes here, but we're still waiting to see who's
he won the 100-kilometer champions with I think he was competing with the group of Gift Kelehe,
yes, correct.
Mama Bolo,
correct, and I mean, he's managed to run a gold at Comrades, but not to win. You see, and that's the ultimate difference. Winning, that's why I say it needs you to from someone who has won it before most of the times. This is how this thing goes. Slender learned from David. David learned at John Hamlet's camp. Tete learned from Slender. You must learn from someone. Bong Musa was also in Hamlet's camp. You know what I mean? All those guys these are the winners. So the secrets are close. You can't just come and say you're gonna win this thing. So it's difficult for me to pick these debutants and say they are going to. One person who I think could run a gold next year is George Cush.
Okay,
for Nedbank.
Because he came and ran a good time this year.
He ran a good time this year. He was disappointing at Two Oceans because at the beginning of the year, in fact, at the end of the previous year, he told me no, he's going to make his Two Oceans debut. Two Oceans kicked him a little bit. He ran a good Comrades. He ran a good Soweto. And for me, that's important, running that 4th position at Soweto, because it's at the end of the year. It means that now December he will have prepared nicely. He will have gone into December fit, and then he will train up for Comrades. And Nick Best is another one who knows the Comrades secrets. You see, so there, I would say those two, maybe Mjwaha and George Cush as one of the medalists, and then I don't know, maybe we'll finally see Musotu other than Tete Dijana getting a goal. But Basutu, Two Oceans, Comrade, Dololo. I always ask them, guys, it's always the Whistle. The guys can lead the race running in the Max Elite colors. I'll ask Martin Ngwenya, and then somewhere it goes missing. So I think, those are the ones where you would say maybe it would have to be a Mr. Price, Mjwaha, Kush. But a foreign athlete to come and win Comrades on debut, not for me.
As we get closer to closing our conversation, I think we've had many nice things that we've seen in running. I attended the awards as they were hosted by the Minister of Sport, and I think running was the biggest winner, or athletics was the biggest winner at those awards. I mean, you got recognitions for Ntate Mosehla, Ntate Masein, and the likes, Zolapat and the likes. What's your input on what happened at the awards?
Well, I mean, I think some of that has been long overdue. In recent years, we've had increasing recognition for the likes of Zola Bad in particular, now that she's been back in South Africa. Well, not now, but recently, maybe over the last 6 to 7 years. And then Masein's wonderful achievement, because Comrades, even, and Tate Masehla, because Comrades is Comrades. So that's good, but I mean, we mustn't forget the importance of track. Track is also very important, and I feel perhaps sometimes we forget it. Luckily, Akani performed very well, who's also moving towards the twilight of his career. We had Prudence, but the challenge with our track athletes is that they are not winning when people are watching, because most South Africans only watch the Olympics, you see, or they are not placing, at least winning a medal at the Olympic Games. And whereas back then we had Sepeng and Josiah and others, just recruiting people, there wouldn't be an Olympics without a track and field medal. But nowadays it's becoming tough to bring a track and field medal from the Olympic Games in particular. So I think for us to get increasing recognition, because the more recognition you get, remember that as athletics we are competing for funding with other codes. If we want the Department of Sports to give us the lion's share more than other sports, we must show why. We must show that we have X amount of thousands and thousands and millions of children participating, which is good for development and good for the country. We must show that our events promote social cohesion, our mass participation events, and we must show that our elite focus is delivering results in terms of medals. And then we can say, right, we deserve more money than rugby. We deserve more money than football. We deserve more money than cricket, because this is what we're doing. So right now it's teka, miss a little bit.
So we are competing more with rugby, because rugby is,
You see,
I mean, I didn't watch rugby before, but now when the Springboks are playing, I'm drawn towards
and do you watch club rugby?
No.
Exactly. So people are not going to be watching your usual races that we running fanatics love, but they're watching what?
Comrades
and the Olympic Games.
And the Olympic.
So for track athletes, if they want to make a lasting impact, we need to perform well at the Olympic Games, and that has been missing in the last 10 years since Wade and Ekasta and Luvo left the scene. Now people watch, they say, hey, there's no South African in the final. Kanjani? And then they complain, and then athletics is useless and all of that kind of talk. So we need now, this generation, Prudence. I won't count Akani, he's done his share, even if he decides to retire. Walaza, Prudence, all these people need to perform on the global stage at an Olympic Games, and that will lift the profile. And so it's not up to them. We as the athletics community need to give them the support, whatever they need, so that Walaza can go to an Olympics and come back with a bronze in a 100-meter final. And then people will say, right, South African, there's the money for athletics.
And then last one, any surprises maybe of seeing like athletes changing clubs and so forth? Because Ryan has signed for Panthane. Can we expect to see any household name changing clubs also? So
there will be changes. Panthane, as you mentioned, Ryan has signed for. We will see a few. It's always difficult to confirm, because there's lots of talk at the beginning of this year, of any year. So usually we start to see maybe some of the ultra marathon runners at Discam, which is now Biogen. They will come and run in the
this weekend
colors. But for example, Mapaseka Makanya joined Nedbank at the end of last year. And then we will see who's moving. Some of them will only, those who are, for example, running Comrades as their main race, will only see them in their new club colors around February. Some of the clubs will host press conferences, not all, to announce their new signings. So this month, January of 2026, will tell us what is what, and by the end of the month we should know who is going where, who is staying, and who are some of the up-and-coming names that have been signed for the first time.
Guys, Musobodi is a top runner. Like his like the name of suggests, he's a top runner. What are you doing, Biogen?
Yes, I'm doing Biogen.
What time are you running?
Last year I was late. I ran 1:31. Ashintwela, he left me kwa Maputi at the top of that hill. And Sprintela.
Where? At
19K.
Primrose, yeah.
Correct,
That Primrose Hill.
I couldn't keep up with him. I think he just made it under 130. I couldn't make my target of sub 130. This time around, so I started my training a bit later. But without making any excuses, basically the plan is always the same. It never changes. Every year I'll run Kudus.
Kudus is in February.
You see, so that usually gives me a good shine before this game, which is now Biogen. So, and the target is always around 130. So anything around 130, I'm happy with. At Biogen.
Thank you, Warra, for your time. And you know what, I can't thank you enough. You know, at times we just take these things for granted. I'll invite Musobodi, he must honor. But at the end of the day, we forget to say thank you for your valuable time. I mean, January can be busy for others. Maybe it's a busy time for you as well. Maybe you were busy. You were supposed to be doing covering children's cool books and so forth, but you are here talking to me. Or you were supposed to be checking uniform, buying stationery and so forth. But yeah, Warra, always pleasure talking to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for the invitation, and all the best for 2026.
Thank you. And for you at home, like, subscribe, comment. We love what we do what we love, and we wish you the best in the 2026 running calendar. Sharp.